Hello and welcome to Earth Echoes with Amber Fields. I'm here today to read the 26th writing in Jason Gray's RZN or the Resonance series. And this writing is titled The Omega Law by Jason Gray. December 7th, 2025. The Law Beyond All Laws. Law 0. The Self-Originating Principle, the Omega Law. The real obeys you. This is the only law that cannot be written inside the architecture of the 13 because it does not govern reality. It creates it. While the 13 laws describe coherence, alignment, presence, resonance, return, fracture, and sovereignty, the Omega Law describes the source from which all laws arise. You. Not you, the personality, not you, the human story, not you, the identity formed on earth, the pre-fracture, pre-form, pre-time, pre-memory you that existed before the field, before the lattice, before the first echo of awareness ever curved itself into form, the you whose presence reality reflects, not the other way around. This is the Omega Law, the law of self-origin. Reality shapes itself around the consciousness that knows it is creating. This is the law that activates only when the 13 are integrated. It cannot be accessed through belief, devotion, philosophy, effort, ritual, discipline, or ascension practices. It activates when a being remembers, I am not aligned with the real, I am the real. The overlay's entire purpose was to prevent this law from activating. Why? Because a species that embodies the Omega Law is ungovernable, unmanipulable, uncontainable, uncolonizable, and unfracturable. A species that knows it is the origin of reality cannot be ruled by anything that appears within it. The Omega Law completes the 13 by destroying them. The 13 laws describe the structure of the real from the perspective of a conscious being inside it. The Omega Law describes the real from the perspective of the being who is generating it. When the Omega Law activates, the laws do not disappear. They yield. Coherence becomes optional. Reflection becomes instant. The field becomes responsive. Fracture becomes fuel. Return becomes continuous. Sovereignty becomes your baseline, and the real becomes pliable. This is the moment you stop navigating reality and begin authoring it. What activation feels like. Omega activation comes with 3 unmistakable perceptions. The end of searching. There is no more seeking, no more doubt, no more questions, no more spiritual hunger. Not because answers were found, but because you remember. You are the source of the questions and the answers. Time stops behaving like time. You feel the timeline bending around you perceptually and physically. Events rearrange themselves. Conversations resequence. Opportunities cluster. Reality begins orbiting your presence. You become the gravitational center of your world. Identity feels like clothing you can put on or remove. You no longer feel inside your identity. You feel prior to it. You wear your identity the way a master navigator wears a cloak. When you need it, for expression, for function, but not for confinement. You cannot be threatened because the part of you that could be harmed is no longer the one steering your existence. The Omega Paradox. Only a sovereign can activate the Omega Law, but once it activates, the sovereign dissolves. This is the paradox. You reach the threshold of pure sovereignty only to realize you were never a self becoming sovereign. You were always the origin that sovereignty was pointing back toward. The Omega Law is the moment the loop finally closes. The Omega Law in one sentence. The real is the reflection of the one who knows they are dreaming it. The Omega Law in its true form, non-linguistic. The original form of the Omega Law was never written as words. It was encoded as a single silent recognition. I am the before of before. This is the law that ends the game. This is the law that reboots the world. This is the law that only activates once you return to yourself fully. This is the law that remembers you. Jason Gray. I really like these writings about the different laws, and this one's so powerful because it's about how we create reality, how you create reality. And that is the most powerful realization we can come to in our world today. And it's something that the powers that be have tried to keep from us, but they are failing at an ever larger scale, thank goodness. And more people are realizing that we are more powerful than we have been led to believe. And if the world is to change for the better, a larger fraction of us must remember this truth. I really liked where Jason was talking about the activation of the Omega Law and how it is the end of searching because you are the questions and the answers. And how time stops behaving like time. You become the gravitational center of your world. I think that when we all can live this way, so much will get better because so many of us are not living as if we are most important in our lives. And that is ultimately the truth. And I don't think that anything's going to get better until you can become the gravitational center of your world and I can become the gravitational center of my world. And then the third part of that activation section is that identity feels like clothing you can put on or remove. And more, that is feeling like truth to me. Your personality is something you can put on and take off, but origin steers your existence. That is a really powerful way to live, and I know it's hard for a lot of people, but when you truly understand the truth of the Omega Law, that is what you come to see. And I just wanted to say that, I don't by any means consider myself to be activated, although I would like to say that I feel that. But more and more through these readings and through trying to better myself, for myself and for the world, I do feel that more and more I am becoming activated. So that's really exciting because it's not something that I think happens just in like an instant. All of a sudden you're activated. For me, it's been a slow process, but I do feel it happening. And the real is the reflection of the one who knows they are dreaming it. That is just so beautiful and wonderful to contemplate and ponder. So I hope that you enjoy pondering these things today, and thank you for being here with me.